Hey there, everyone. We have some bright green in the pre-market as the government shutdown comes to an end. We want to take a look at those penny stocks because, man, they can really pump today. We'll also take a look at some of those key levels because they can be informative as we plan things out going forward from here. And we'll see some of those things that I said could be areas where we'd find the bottom happen to be those places where we found the bottom so far. So these sort of things, when I talk about them and setting up the next opportunity, they're the exact things that you want to be looking for. So let me pop up the chart here for the SPY. And one of the things that I talked about for the SPY, actually for the market overall, was the government shutdown itself, which right now the whole end to the government shutdown is speculated. And so the market's like, yes, come on, over. And I said that the market would probably recover as soon as we got news of that. And that's pretty much what we have happening right now. Look at that touch on the 50 EMA right here. And that was a place where I said, watch out for that. That could be a serious bounce zone. We saw on the IWM prior to that. And then Friday, we saw it for SPY. And now we're seeing that recovery along with that long bottom wick that you see. It's like the market knows that something good is coming its way. So it pushes it down at the right time and pops back up at the right time. If we drop down to the hourly chart for SPY, some important things. One, this trend line that you see coming down, look where we're at in the pre-market hours. We are just above that trend line on the way down. And then these two prices around in 680 are where we could potentially hit our heads at first. So we want to be watchful for that. Sitting on top of 681 is going to be critical for moving up higher. And you guys can see the resistance that we have that was formerly support and that we got rejected previously. So there might be an initial rejection here and then potentially a higher climb. We're going to have to watch and see what we get from that. But once again, general direction being up, especially off of that wild bounce that we got. Look at that V shape that we got as we bounced off the 50-day EMA that I showed you on the daily chart right there's exactly what it looked like. Came down, fall, boing, and then bounce up, and then that gap up that we have in the pre-market hours this morning from that over the weekend news, if you will. So we go to the Qs. There we go, up about 1.5%. And some of this would be probably based on what we see with big tech, where AMD is, especially where NVIDIA is. And I'll show you NVIDIA's chart in just a moment here. But once again, this trend line that we see, this more near-term trend line, we're starting to move to sit on top of that. And that could give us room once again up quite a ways from where we're at right now. But another $7 on top should be a little over 1% up from where we're at. So could you imagine going up over 2.5% today? I could, and I would absolutely love to see it. So we want to watch for that resistance that happens to be right around at 226 to 227. We definitely want to sit on top of that, especially given this trend line resistance that we have across this level as well. So it'd be nice to push above that, and then we could be looking eyes forward to 636 up above that. If this turns out to be bullish the way that I believe that it will be. When we go over to IWM, there we go. The place we have to hit our heads is 245. And much like what we saw with the SPY, we have a trend line coming across this way, and we happen to be just above that trend line in the pre-market hours this morning. So that could serve as support for us if we're able to stay there, and chances are that we could stay there. When we look at NVIDIA, man, we got all sorts of stuff. So we had a descending wedge. We fell at the bottom of it, which is not great for us. However, you might see these two horizontal lines that are across the bottom. I said watch 183 to 185. That's probably where we're going to get that bounce. It ended up being a little bit south of that. But if we go out to the daily chart to see what that looks like, there we go. You can see these previous highs that we had over here where we had all that resistance. I said that's probably going to be pretty significant support for us. And we'll just look and see what happened as soon as we got down near the area. That's where we get that low bottom wick. We also opened right around the 50 EMA. So we pushed down into that fat support and it pushed us back up, bounced right up out of it. And then we might be opening up above the 5 and 13 EMAs on this. Bitcoin as well, as I keep talking about, for giving us sentiment on the risk assets. We look at that double touch that we got on 100,000 as soon as we came back up off of that, and especially as we broke up over this 102 level, and then we went up over it, sealing up here. The floor held at 102, and now we're pushing on to about 106. And then we want to watch for this trend line that's coming down along here. So 108 to 110 is the next levels that we want to be watching for. Definitely we want to sit on top of this trend line that we have across the top. It is part of a descending wedge pattern. And as that descending wedge pattern plays out, if we can get back up over that 200, and it's likely that we'll hit our heads on it first, that 200 EMA that we have here, that's at 108. If we can get back up on top of that, hold off this death cross, and especially if we can break this top trend line, that can be very bullish, and maybe that puts us at that 150,000 per BTC by end of year if the market can really hold out its strength. So when we move over to our friends, the penny stocks, NVTS, look at this. We fell down through one area of support a few days ago, tumbled down through on Thursday. I saw it said this is a free fall area when you see these black here, and then green is the support area that you have There we go. And look what happened on Friday. We fell right down to that support area. Couldn't break down below it. Now we're moving back up above. Today could be a very good day for Navitas Semiconductors, up almost 6% in the pre-market. ONDS, there we go. Look at this, breaking out of the north of its descending wedge pattern, which is a bullish reversal pattern, and it's fighting with its 200-hour EMA that we have right here. That could push up significantly for us, and we definitely want to be watchful for ONDS having a 10% day on Friday, and up about 11% in the pre-market hours this morning. Actually, it's closer to 11%. So we did push down below the 50 EMA, and we got the 5 and the 13 crossing, but our volumes are starting to pick back up as we start to get into what could be an accumulation zone down here. So watch for big movements for ONDS. We got to watch for that 50 EMA to the north around 677. If we can sit on top of that, that could be a giddy up moment for us to sit on top of those near term moving averages. So absolutely keep it on your radar. And then Big Bear AI stock. What are we looking for this? Once again, descending wedge pattern. We got to watch for hitting our heads again right around 620. If we can push up through that, we got to watch 677, which I have on the screen here for you. Then we have free rise to 717 to 735. 735 is a major resist, so be on the watch for that as well. And we have early signs of some bullishness coming in here for us. One thing to watch out for is today in the after hours, we have earnings, and the last time that we had those earnings, it wasn't so good. As a matter of fact, Big Bear AI has a history on their earnings of not doing so hot for that. You can go back and watch what I said leading up to the last earnings that they have a history of missing. Will they tell us that revenue story that we want to hit? Will we see that broadening of partnerships? Will we see some growth finally moving into the earnings? If we do, this thing's probably going to be pretty darn explosive. If not, it's probably going to drop a lot further from here. Expect it to be very wild, very volatile for us, for Big Bear AI, as we get into the after hours today for their earnings. So RZLV, once again, descending wedge. We got to get back up on top of that 200 EMA, which is near-term bearishness for us. In the 5s down below it, we're down below the 13 and the 50. So kind of in bearish in terms of RSI, in terms of the moving averages, and we're not really seeing that pickup yet. There might be very super early signs of that pickup in volume. Absolutely watch for this volume to come back in, especially if we can sit on top of that 200 EMA, get back into that $4 range. That's going to be very important for us for further movement upward. And then I'm going to toss in an honorable mention. Definitely not a penny stock here, talking about Chipotle Mexican Grill that could not crack back in. This is one of my underdogs that I chose, and man, it got rejected big time at the area of resistance. Earnings had to fall right down through support, but now I believe that we're going to start to get in that accumulation zone down towards the bottom here. There we go. And we're going to go out to the weekly chart for Chipotle, because I feel like this one could return wildly to us, that we're getting into that overdone area for Chipotle. There we go. It took a while to update there, Chipotle. And I can take down all this stuff for you. There we are. And look at this mix that we have over here, this chop. We were coming from the underside before. Now we're coming down from the top side of it. Hello, Benjamin. That's my cat. I don't know if you can hear me meowing in the background. He's very noisy sometimes. In any case, all this chop that you have over here to the left could be exactly where we find that accumulation as we start to bounce and turn back around the other way. Now, we don't have promises of that, but I will say from a technical standpoint, from $29 all the way down to 26. If we make it down to 26, this thing is probably going to be an absolute rocket ship. So we want to watch for those signs of reversal to come in Chipotle Mexican Grill. The weekly chart is showing us that we're in oversold territory. If we go all the way out to the monthly chart, the RSI says that we're near oversold. And if we go out to the daily chart, we are wildly oversold, being all the way down below 19 as per the RSI. And if we can push up, we can probably capture about 20% upside back up to this area of previous support, which actually I should color code that as resistance. Now that we are solidly below it, that's going to be something to fight back over. But if we could put up 20% from now, and if we come all the way down to that 26 that you see down here, 29 is massive support, by the way. Even more massive support down at 26 to 27. If we can make it down that far, I think that would give us wild returns on Chipotle Mexican Grill. We might not make it that low given how oversold it is now. It could show us a bit of that recovery coming in here. So be on the lookout for it. So you guys can let me know what you think of the best penny stocks to buy now. You can let me know what you think about the government shutdown and the market movement. You can let me know what you think about Chipotle Mexican Grill. You can say hello. You can tell me dad jokes in the comments. I'd love to hear those as well. Always something to make me smile besides all that green that's there. And if you guys really want to make me smile, come on over to the Discord. You make yourself smile by joining the thousands of members that are already over there. And we will be there to support you in your journey towards financial freedom and building alpha in your portfolio through the AI tools, the advanced charting tools that are over there as well, the live trading, the bread bot, the Ask the Expert, the expert panelists that are over there, you name it. It, like I said, is an entire ecosystem there in service to you and the other members of the community that have already joined us. You guys can also check out Stockmo Academy if you want to learn about technical analysis like you see on the screen here, trading using technicals with the bread recipe, and then also an options course if you want to really get those outsized gains, really put in that alpha into your portfolio through the power of options. You can do that through that coursework in Stockmo Academy. Use the code word doctor when you sign up. It's going to save you $400 off each course. And if you bundle the two courses together, you get a bundle discount plus the $400 off using code word doctor. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning. I'll see you next video.